What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Swirly Plays. We are back with a special kind of video today because we are only 2 days away from 2025's Pokemon Day announcement special. Pokemon Day announcements are kind of a mixed bag. There's been some years in the past where we've gotten huge announcements like surprise reveals of new entire generations, surprise announcements of games like Pokemon Legends Arceus, which if you know anything about me, you know I'm obsessed with that game and I love it very much. And today, the focus of what we're going to talk about is things I hope to see at this year's Pokemon Day, but specifically about Pokemon Legends ZA. After they announced it, we heard nothing more about it for the entirety of 2024, which some people debated on whether that was a good thing. I think it was a great thing because Skull and Vi was kind of a rushed mess technically. Maybe if they go, they just go quiet, they're focusing on the game. Don't show us anything until it's ready. Take your time, for the love of God, Pokemon, take your time. We've now hit the point, if they don't talk about it this year, here in a couple days, I will have some genuine concerns, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I feel like there's a 0% chance we don't get a full gameplay trailer, more than just the teaser we got last time, like some actual gameplay and details of what even Pokemon Legends ZA is. So let's get into 10 things I want to talk about regarding Pokemon Legends ZA. And then at the end, we'll talk about some other stuff I think might happen during the announcements on Pokemon Day. Again, we don't really even know what being a Legends game means. The only thing we have to go off of is what Pokemon Legends Arceus was. And I think there's going to be a lot of gameplay that hopefully will be similar to Arceus that will establish, oh, these are what Legends games are like. Side note, Lucy's up with me today and she doesn't want to let me talk. She doesn't want to be up here. She don't like it. Lucy, I gotta record a video. The people need the content. The biggest thing for me is I still want to be a third person. You are running around as the trainer in an open world, maybe open zones, kind of like how Arceus had 5 different areas you would go to, different environments. And you need to be catching Pokemon outside of battle. Like that is probably #1 on my list of like, this needs to be what a Legends game is. I can throw a Pokeball at something, hit him in the butt. That just has to be in this game. I need that. I need to be developing a Pokédex, hopefully completing tasks for those Pokemon, like catch them without being seen, catch large, catch small, battle them so many times, defeat a bunch of water Pokemon with electric moves. I need that to be a part of this game and I hope it comes back. I also hope the agile and strong style changes they made to combat come back. I loved agile style and strong style as a way to get an extra hit in or do a little extra damage at a risk, but trying to end the fight right then and there. I hope they bring back Frost, what was it called? Frostbite and what was it called? Drowsy. Those changes I thought were great, where Frostbite's basically just a special attack burn. Drowsy becomes kind of like a paralysis adjacent thing where you're never like guaranteed you're not gonna be doing anything, but I just love the little changes they made to combat. And we'll talk about combat more later on, but in general, I just want the gameplay and moving around the environments to feel like Arceus. Like it's so simple, but like I just want more of that game and I would be so thrilled if that's what we get. The second thing I want to talk about are the starters. So Legends ZA had, being a game set in Sinnoh, had Piplup, Chimchar, and oh my god, Turtwig in the world, but they weren't your actual starters. I think they'll still have the X and Y starters with Froakie, Chespin, and Vennekin in the game, but I don't think they'll be your starters. I also think the Kanto Pokemon are going to be, the Kanto starters rather, will also be in this game because in X and Y you get to pick a Kanto starter as well. I really hope they keep up what they did with Arceus and give us a weird mismatched trilogy, or trio rather, of starters. And I even have a prediction of who I think it would be thematically if they go that route. I think Snivy as the grass starter would be super cool. He's kind of like, he's got that French like aesthetic to what Superior ends up looking like. I think that would be very cool. Fire type, maybe we get a Scorbunny. Like I liked how Rowlet kind of felt like a newer Pokemon at the time. We're like, wow, we're bringing Rowlet back again already. Scorbunny can kind of do that, being from Sword and Shield just a couple years later. I think that would be a cool addition. And for water, I hope it's not this because I love the Sinnoh games. I'm kind of Sinnoh'd out, but like Empoleon is literally like Napoleon. I feel like Piplup being the starter makes too much sense to not be Piplup. So that's my official trio: Snivy, Scorbunny, Piplup. You heard it here first. That's my prediction if we get some wacky trios of starters this time. At number 3, we're talking Megas. Mega Evolution is my favorite like gimmick in battle they've ever done. Everyone's been wanting it to come back. Like every single Pokemon game, it feels like, is this the one where Megas come back? Is this the one? end of the ZA trailer did tease that Megas will be back. I think we definitely get new ones. If we get a new trio of starters like Scorbunny, Snivy, and Piplup, their final evolutions will get Megas, I think. I think they'll do that like they did with Alpha Sapphire and Mega Ruby. I think we'll get a lot of the returning Megas, but I don't think we get all returning Megas, which is going to be probably controversial to some, but I would rather lose some to be able to get a lot more new ones in this game. I mean, it'd be awesome if we just had all of them and then some new ones. But I don't know how many there are. I think there's like 30 or something like that. There's no way they bring back every single one. That's just my prediction. I think some fun predictions of who those new ones might be. Again, I think your brand new starters, if they do that, those will get Megas. I think the Gen 6 starters, the original ones, will get Megas. I think, imagine a Mega Greninja. Oh my God, that'd be so cool. Maybe Dragonite. I saw something online say that Dragonite's the only pseudo that hasn't had some sort of new form, iteration, a Mega in the previous games, something like that. So maybe some Dragonite love would be really cool. I thought Talonflame could look cool as a Mega just because it's a badass bird. It's one of my favorite of like the Pidgeys in any Pokemon game. That would be a fun one to get. In general, no Gen 6 Pokemon, the game that introduced Megas, got Mega Evolutions. They only gave them to previous forms. So maybe they correct that, give some Gen 6 Pokemon some love. And shout out to my brother Brand. I reached out to him for some of his picks of who he thought should get Megas, and he mentioned Aegislash. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. He just becomes like a whole ass soldier. That'd be sick. Goodra. Brand's a big Goodra fan. I also love Goodra. I know Goodra got some love in Arceus with the Hisuian form, but yeah, Mega Goodra would be sick. And he mentioned Sylveon being awesome, which I agree. Imagine they give all the Eevees Megas. Oh my God, the Eevee community would go ballistic. But yeah, those would be some cool ones. Oh, and also, just because it'd be fun to give Wooloo one. Show some love to Wooloo. Why not? Why not? Why not Wooloo? And I also think, for a reason we'll get into later when we talk about the story of what this game might be, I think Florges is going to get something in this game. That just makes a lot of sense to me. So bet we get a lot of Megas involved in this game as well. At number 4, let's talk about Lumio City. The trailer basically only told us that there's going to be blueprints as if you're building up Lumio City from the ground up. Maybe there'll be some different mechanics about building Lumio City from the ground up. Like maybe you have to collect some materials from the different zones to like actually physically build the buildings, and you can unlock new things to do in the town as you progress, stuff like that. Maybe some of the like catching of Pokemon requirements, instead of for a Pokedex, you're catching Pokemon that could like help build the city. Maybe some fighting and rock types to do construction, some electric types to help power the place. Fire types could be cooking, I don't know, something like that. Like maybe that'd be kind of cool. But in general, I think the different sections of the city, I could see being the zones like from Arceus, which does kind of worry me a little bit. Like if the entire game takes place in the city, I feel like a lot of people rolled with that just because that's all we know is, oh, there's a city. There's got to be some space outside of the city, I would hope, and that's where you're really going to then come back and build something up, but we will see. At number 5, let's talk about battling a little bit. I think one gripe with Legends Arceus that I understand a lot of people had was there just wasn't enough battling in that game. Like it was just not the main purpose of what you were doing. And they did have fights, and again, they changed some of the battle mechanics in ways I thought were awesome, but to supplement that, give us a lot of battling to do. Like do a like battle towers type of thing where there's like a gauntlet of trainers to beat, or you know, maybe they find a way to give us not necessarily gyms, because if the town's being built, there's probably aren't established gyms, especially they wouldn't all be 8. All 8 wouldn't be in the same city, but do some sort of a structure of like progress through these 8 major battles that will kind of feel like gym battles, but just won't be gym battles in name. It'll be something different. And Arceus had noble Pokemon, like one over each zone, that was kind of like the final boss of the area. Maybe they do something like that again, but instead of noble Pokemon, maybe they pick 5 new ones, 5 of the new Megas they will announce, that there's like a roaming, super mad, pissed off, Mega evolved Pokemon that you have to tame and calm and like capture to be able to like build up that section of the city or something like that. I could see them doing that. They'll use, because the nobles were a lot of, actually I think about it, I think the nobles were all brand new Pokemon or new forms of existing Pokemon. So that'd be a great way for them to showcase something like that. So I could see that being it for sure. All right, number 6, let's talk about how many Pokemon will be in this game. Legends Arceus had 242 species of Pokemon in it. And we gotta at least top that. Like if they could get to 300, I feel like that would be a win. 300 with very little to zero crossover whenever they could help it. They love putting Abra in every damn game. There's Magikarps in every game. Gyarados is probably going to be in this. I think he was even in the trailer. Just as little crossover from Arceus as possible would be wonderful, but I think 300 is like my sweet spot of, not a minimum, like I'd be fine if it's 250 again, but 300 would be like, oh, shattering my expectations. At 7, let's talk about shiny hunting. So I'm not a huge shiny hunter in Pokemon in general, but Legends Arceus was the one that I did get super into shiny hunting in. Probably because it was much more laxed, easy mode for a lot of the hardcore shiny hunters out there. I know you guys love just resetting a game 2,000 times and pretending like it did something, but whatever. I hope it's still, even if it's just outbreaks again, I know Scarlet and Violet kind of kept the outbreak thing going. Give me something to spawn a bunch of Pokemon. Let that be a fun flow. I'd be down for it. But I hope it's just another like casual shiny hunting game for me. I would love that. I didn't even think about this till just now. Please bring alphas back. Alpha Pokemon were also so cool, and probably actually my favorite thing they added to the franchise in Arceus. Imagine a Mega Evolved Alpha. Oh my God, that'd be so cool. Just quick side note. Please put alphas back in the game. That'd be awesome. And my final main point, I have 2 other small topics to talk about, but let's talk about what the story could be in Pokemon Legends ZA. If you don't count the DLCs, which kind of replaced that 3rd game that all the generations would get, Pokemon X and Y are the only ones that didn't get a second release of something. There was no Pokemon Z like we all thought. Nothing to do with Zygarde going on in it. I'm hoping this game is kind of what that would be. Is there a way to kind of right that wrong in a way? So I could see, I mean, ZA from the logo, Zygarde looks like he's going to be a pretty big to do in this game. There'll be Zygarde. Maybe we'll have to find, oh my God, imagine we have to find little Zygarde droplets, whatever they were called from X and Y. I could see that being a part of it. Maybe Trainer AZ from Pokemon X and Y, that giant guy who's apparently been wandering the world for 3,000 years, and his little flower companion with him, which is why I think Florges is going to get some sort of love in this game. Maybe there'll be like his origin story, like maybe he's around when he's only 1,000 years into his 3,000 years of wandering. Who could say? Maybe it's something similar to Arceus, where it's just like the origins of the legendaries from this generation. There'll be some Yveltal, there'll be some Xerneas, there'll be some Zygarde in there. Maybe we get special forms of Palkia, like we did with Palkia and Dialga from Arceus. Could it be Megas? Mega Xerneas, Mega Yveltal, that'd be pretty sick. Yveltal, I call it Yveltal from MJ TV. I don't even remember what I used to call it. It's just Yveltal from him. Yveltal! That's the only thing that's burned into my brain. There could be leaks also, by the way. I didn't mention this. I have not looked at anything leak-wise. I could be already being proved wrong, but this is what I think could happen just based on a trailer and what my hopes and dreams are. At number 9, let's talk release window. I think the absolute earliest this game could come out would be in June. Latest rumors are that the Switch 2 is going to come out in June, potentially. I still think that's a little early. But I don't think this will be a Switch 2 game. They've basically said as much, that this is a Switch game that will be backwards compatible on the Switch 2. It maybe looks a little better, loads a little faster, that type of stuff. But yeah, maybe it comes out in June to still go along with that. It would still be a system seller in my opinion, even if it's not a Switch 2 game. But at the very latest, I think will be like that 1st or 2nd week of November. A lot of mainline Pokemon games come out around that time in November. They'll beat the Black Friday rush. They want this game out for holiday of 2025. So even if it's like 2 weeks before Black Friday and it's this big brand new release for them to sell a bunch of copies on that day and Cyber Monday, that would be it. But between June, November, I think I'm more leaning towards it being the end of the year. That's kind of my prediction of where it'll be. And finally, do I think it'll be good? Will be our number 10 point here. I love Pokemon. I always have my entire life. I definitely don't play it as much as I used to just because life gets busy when you're in your 30s and even 20s, honestly. But I am like a huge day one on brand new releases. I get super into it, and that's like my peak Pokemon time. Legends Arceus is my favorite Pokemon game ever made. It feels crazy to say that. I don't think very many people love all the Pokemon games and think that way, but that's where I'm at. I just love that gameplay of exploring a world, not knowing what I'm going to find, catching Pokemon, doing all the challenges. If that part of Arceus, if you just like zoom in on that, is what a Legends game is, I'm going to have an absolute blast with this game. If Legends ends up being just code word for like any random spinoff, and everything I just said in this video ends up being proven to be bullshit tomorrow as you guys are watching this, then that'll be kind of a disappointment, but I'll still be excited to play the game. So in my opinion, I think it'll be fine. I bet it's still not going to look very great. A lot of people are going to be mad about the visuals and the frame rate, and like, as long as it's playable, I don't really care with Pokemon. Like, it should be better. They make enough money to make it better. But for now, if it's anything like Arceus, I'm going to love it. And I'm excited to see what they announce and see some new megas and stuff like that. So I'm personally looking forward to it. Finally, real quick, some other things I think will be talked about tomorrow on Pokemon Day. They will do the rundown of all of the mobile games. I don't play any of them, even Pokemon Go. There'll be some Cafe Remix, there'll be some Pokemon Master, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Go. I don't think they're having the Unova tour right now. They'll have their little things to say. They'll go get your free coins or whatever the hell they do in those games. Pokemon Unite, they'll probably announce like 2 or 3 new Pokemon. I'm not in the know to know who's, rumored. Is Mewtwo in it yet? I don't know. Maybe they put Mewtwo in there if he's not there. Who could say? There's also a lot of rumors of like a brand new game. Like, would they announce something that hasn't been talked about yet? I think there's a chance of that. I don't think it'll be this Pokemon collection a lot of people think will be out there. Like the gens 1 through 3, all 9 games in one bundle. They're gonna be... At most, they would individually release them untouched in quality on Switch Online, because they have Game Boy, they have Game Boy Color, they have Game Boy Advance on there. It kind of makes no sense that they're not already there, and it makes you think they're not already there because they're working on something else to sell you instead. But they could make all those games $10 each, and a lot of people would buy every single one of them and make more money that way. So I will believe it when I see it, and I'm holding it in my hands that they're going to make a collection of classic Pokemon games. I just don't see it happening. But yeah, maybe they announced some new spin-off game. I don't know if they were going to make a Detective Pikachu 2 or something like that. Who could say? But in general, that's mostly where I'm at. I think a lot of details on Pokemon Legends EA, do their stuff about the mobile games. I don't think there's going to be a collection announced. Maybe they mentioned the fact that next year is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, and like, oh, the 10th generation will be out in 2026. But I don't think we even see like starters or any inclination of what it actually is. Just maybe they talk about, ooh, next year is going to be pretty sweet, and not much else beyond that. So I'm hoping it's very much so Pokemon Legends EA focused, and if that's true, I will be a happy boy come tomorrow. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I want to know in the comments, what do you think will happen on Pokemon Day? If you're watching this after it comes out, please be sure to roast my ass in the comments. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video of all my predictions and how wrong I was, and talk about what we actually know about Pokemon Legends EA. I think that'd be a lot of fun to go back and take a look at that. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great Pokemon Day tomorrow, and I will see you in the next video.